department? Let's get your name and title for the camera.
Okay. It's Corporal Ryan Winderweedle. It's Ryan Winderweedle.
You can tell us what happened.
Around 1:20 a.m., officers responded to a domestic call between roommates at a residence on Templeton Lane. The victim roommate in this incident stated that he was being prevented from leaving and that the suspect had discharged a firearm during the altercation. When officers arrived, they located the victim in the driveway being prevented from leaving, and the suspect was outside with a firearm. Once officers had arrived, the victim was able to leave the incident, and the suspect retreated into the residence with a firearm. At that point, it was determined that an elderly female was still inside the residence with the suspect. Supervisors on scene determined a SWAT incident and called SWAT officers to respond. The SWAT team and negotiators negotiated for approximately 5 hours trying to get the individual to come out and turn himself in. At that time, at some point during the incident, he pointed his firearm several times at the officers who were behind the SWAT barricade in the street, and had made numerous threats that he was going to shoot multiple officers on scene. Around 7:15 in the morning, the suspect stepped out to the backyard with a firearm in his hand and pointed it at SWAT officers in the backyard. 2 SWAT officers fired at the suspect, and he was determined to be deceased at the scene.
Any idea on the name or age of the suspect?
He's a early 60s male. The victim was also a male. We're not releasing any names until next of kin has been notified. I'll let the GBI handle that. The GBI is on scene handling the officer-involved shooting.
Do you have any information as it relates to the relationship between the 3 people inside the house?
Just that they were roommates. I'm not sure if they were related or kin to each other, but apparently there was 3 individuals, 2 males and an elderly female living in the residence.
Do you have the age of the male victim?
Adult male is all I know. I don't have an age. No.
Did you have to evacuate any residents in the neighboring homes?
That would be for the GBI to determine. Usually it's standard practice for SWAT to clear out the residents around the incident location just for safety purposes.
But you can't say.
I don't know off the top of my head if they had or not.
You know what time this all started and ended?
About 1:20 in the morning was, I think, when we received the first call, and it was approximately 7:15 when the suspect stepped out back and pointed a firearm. At that point, the SWAT discharged their firearms.
Do you know who made the call, the initial call now? Was it from a resident, from like a disturbance?
I believe it was the victim that was in the altercation with the suspect.
That elderly woman, do you have an update on her?
I believe she was transported to be checked out, and her family was notified to come take care of her.
So she was home the whole time?
She was inside the residence when the incident was occurring, yes.
This was a hostage situation?
Don't know if he had intentionally tried to take her hostage or not, but the SWAT officers were concerned about her safety, being that she was inside the residence when he was presenting and threatening them with firearms.
And her relationship again?
I don't know what her relationship is directly to the suspect.
You know what type of weapon the suspect had?
I believe he had a handgun in his possession when he pointed it at SWAT officers. During the incident, he presented and held up several firearms that he had inside the residence.
And the GBI is now overseeing the investigation?
That is correct. GBI will handle the officer-involved shooting investigation.
Can you comment on his mental capacity at any point?
That I don't know at this time. It would take a check into criminal history or other stuff to see if there was anything like that.
Thank you.